Y'all, today is a day. So, Layla is in class and I'm trying to eat. Oh, I'm going on. Got my chips and guac jumping out. She had a substitute teacher today. And it's going down. It's hard to substitute via Zoom. Their teacher left them to work. This teacher don't have the books they have. And I'm constantly up and down in my chair because she trying to get her work done, but the instructions ain't good. She getting frustrated. I'm getting frustrated. And yes, as parents, we allowed to get frustrated. Young adults, youth, don't get that twisted. We have our days where we get frustrated. And I think what's frustrating me the most is that I'm being forced right now to multitask in an area that I was not prepared to be multitasking in. Hear what I'm saying? And so, because I was not prepared for how this was getting ready to go, I'm now trying to figure out how it is that I'm supposed to support her in the capacity that she's requiring me to support her right now and deal with the 50 million problems that then came across this computer today because it seems like everybody is doing something wrong. Now I could chalk this up to this just being a bad day, but I think that we all know this pandemic was inevitable. We didn't see this coming. For the most part, unless you in your hundreds, ain't none of us actually lived through anything like this before. And what I'm noticing, because I was listening to GMA this morning, and there were a lot of people from Texas that they were interviewing, and they kept saying, they left us out here. They're not doing anything to help, blah, blah, blah. And they interviewed one of the other mayors in Texas. And they said, normally you guys seem to prepare yourself for the hurricanes and you have something in place. Is there something outside of the norm here? And he told them, hurricanes, yes, we're equipped to deal with. We've never seen anything like this before. And I think we can tie all of this in together. Stay with me, y'all. And I say that because we play the blame game for everything that seems to be unfamiliar. Because we've never dealt with it before and it's causing us strife, we want to quickly say that this is somebody else's fault for not helping. This is somebody else's fault for allowing this to happen. Now, don't get it twisted. Your man's that was in the office before the new man in the office, he just didn't try to do anything. But what happens when you get slapped with something you've never dealt with before and you have people that are depending on you to save them, in a sense, from what they're going through because they didn't see it coming either? And I say that because even as parents, we get hit with things that we're not familiar with. Even as parents, we come into situations with our kids, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you all can appreciate this because technology was not as advanced as it is now back when we were growing up. So we're dealing with things as far as our kids go in an area that we've never dealt with them in before. You got online bullying, you have people fighting each other and setting up fights via social media. You're dealing with people hacking other people's accounts, stealing their information. I mean, that's a whole lot to deal with. And it's like, who are we to blame people for things that they don't know? Who are we to blame people for trying to see a way in something that they've never saw before? I think that this is now a time that really we're being forced to try to work things out together. You can't blame this weather on nobody. Are there certain things we probably could have taken as far as the pandemic goes? Yes. But have we ever lived through a pandemic to know the extended ramifications of it? Did we know how bad this would get? Did we know it was going to generate a second strain that had nobody saw before? Did we know that we were going to be able to actually pump out some sort of medicine that would help us to keep from constantly spreading it, did we know we would all be walking around with masks on for more than a year? I mean, there are just certain things that right now we just not in a place that we can just keep blaming people for what's happening. We gonna have to just come together and fix it. And that's not just the pandemic. It's not just this weather. It's actually in our homes as well. Because you have to keep in mind, as parents, we can't give our kids what we've never been through before. We can't coach them effectively through that. We just have to work our magic through it. That's the only thing we can do. I mean, it's sad to say, but I'm sitting here and I'm listening to everything that's going on as far as what people are saying about government and the mayors in these cities, and the mayors themselves are, I think there was one mayor, he was actually online talking to the people of his city and his power went out. Like, did he see that coming? No. And the crazy part about it is, first and foremost, he got to make sure his wife and his kids in their house are actually okay. So we have to get to a point where the sense of togetherness becomes more real than who it is who we want to place blame with. We gonna stop this whole thing where we blaming our parents for our shortcomings, when they probably did the best they could to teach you all whatever it is that you needed to be taught while you were coming up. We're going to stop playing the blame game when we go out here and we break laws and we do things that we ought not be doing. There are certain things that this life right now is showing us we just ain't going to be ready for it. We weren't ready for technology to show us a whole black man being killed by a white cop in broad daylight. We wasn't ready for technology being able to show the world that. We wasn't ready for what came behind that when they tore the blocks up. It's a whole lot of stuff that is forever changing the world right now. And there are a lot of things that pre-existed that actually led up to a lot of this. Did we see this coming as far as the weather? Probably not. Did we actually see a virus making its way across countries, across seas, across boats, right into our country and just landing and sitting here? Probably not. You birth a child. Do you see that child spending the rest of their life in jail? Probably not. So we just have to work things out to the best of our ability and do what we can with what it is that we have to help one another and lift one another up, y'all. Some of these issues with these kids is just as bad as these people in Texas who don't have any water and power right now. And at the end of the day, they want to blame their parents. Sometimes things happen and nobody has any control over it. So let's just work together. Parents, work with y'all children. And children, try to be a little open to what some other things are your parents are saying. I know there's some things I need to get on here and talk about because it's too many parents that are not listening to their kids. I know I did that video, Bound by Silence, and some of you all need to go back and listen to it again. It's on my YouTube channel, Key and Mercy, KIANDMERCY. It's on my YouTube channel. It's called Bound by Mercy, and it is speaking specifically to your parents who are not allowing your children to have a voice. Part of the reason that they blame you all for some of the things that they're going through is because they feel as though they came to you and you weren't trying to hear them. So let's make sure that we're praying for those who have been drastically affected by the pandemic, those that have lost loved ones, those that are being drastically affected by the weather that we're having right now. These are unknown phenomena, y'all. And it ain't really nothing we could do with it, but work together. I mean, nobody saw 2021 looking like this. So I love you all, and I will see you next video.